was 7, a movie called Tangled had just been released in cinemas. I had no other goal in life except to have hair as long as Rapunzel's. Every birthday wish, every eyelash, every wishbone were dead set on me somehow growing locks as lengthy as the princess's. Oh. That Christmas, my Nana kindly made me a real-life yarn replica of her hair, decorated with flowers and bows and all of the bells and whistles a princess could ever desire. I adored it. However, as you can probably tell, my hair doesn't seem to be 70 feet in length. In fact, it's probably more around 4 inches. How can a little girl be dead set on meters and meters of hair, suddenly switch to wanting almost none of it on her head? There have been stages in my hair growth and loss. Here are those stages. Stage 1, long and blonde. This stage lasted from birth to 6th grade, a whole, I don't remember how many years, of boring blonde hair. I parted it in the middle and let it flow straight down onto my shoulders. I still hoped to achieve that Rapunzel-esque look, but maybe a little toned down as to not have to wash 10 feet of hair each night. This hair contains a lot of great memories, such as flying in my first airplane, traveling to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and spending time with family. Maybe a couple tussles thrown in here and there. But this hair was simple, safe. My hair was my safety blanket, and I kept it that way for a long time. I was on the easy road to a happy and healthy life. Then, things took a turn. Stage 2, long, blonde with blue tips. I began to start experimenting with hair coloring in 6th grade. My parents had been divorced for a couple of months and decided a change would be nice, or at least something to take my mind off of what had happened. My mom and Nana dyed it blue in a half hour, which was, looking back on it, definitely not enough time. I was the coolest kid at Foxview for a while. I'm pretty sure I started some kind of revolution because the months afterwards consisted of 100 little tiny 6th graders dyeing their hair blue or red. Sadly, the dye washed out on spring break of that year. Chlorine does not cooperate with teenage rebellion. This style began to show change. Dyeing your hair is a big step, no matter how small of a portion. There were times when, yeah, I knew people wouldn't like it. I knew people thought I was weird. But I did it because I wanted to, and I had the support of my family, not because I thought my friends or peers would like it. Sorry, guys. Stage 3, long and Harley Quinn dyed. This was when I started getting a little insane. I initially wanted my hair to look like this, but after realizing the cost and time that would take, I opted for a more simple look. I loved Suicide Squad, especially Harley Quinn, and I wanted to take after her. This is what it ended up looking like. Cute, right? It wasn't. The dye would fade to this rusty red and almost metallic blue, which sounds cool, but it's not. I was left with streaks of bright red and brown on one side, and then blue and gray on the other. It was a mess. It did look pretty cute in a ponytail, though, I'll just say that. This hair was my first step towards becoming more comfortable with making big steps related to my looks. I was extremely self-conscious towards the end of the stage, as, again, the dye fading looked bad. There were times when I wanted to just cut it off or cover it up. This time it wasn't because I wanted a new style or color, it was because I knew that my peers thought my half-dyed hair looked bad. I decided to cover it up after about 2 months, which led to stage 4. Side note, if you don't believe I've changed a lot in a year and a half, here's a screenshot of my old Pinterest boards. Look at all of those dreamy emo boys. Stage 4, long and half black. More hair dye, but this time a solid black. This is the only photo I have of it, but I'm pretty sure I could find more if I dug really deep. This is my mom's least favorite of the stages, and I can't say I blame her. The black line across wasn't even straight, so that was the cherry on top, per se. I'm pretty sure all that was coursing through my mind when I decided to dye it this way was, get this blue and brown and red and gray mess off of my hair. I want it gone. Good riddance. Yes, early 7th grade Reni, your brown and gray hair is horrendous, but covering it up with a layer of black does not fix every mistake. After about a month of this style, I was already sick of it. But, as anyone with a small hint of common sense knows, you can't cover up black with anything. I had the option to bleach it, but that would have completely ruined the somewhat healthy hair I had, so I steered away from bleaching. Splat, the coloring product I had previously used for my blue and red hair, washed out in about a month. It's the somewhat temporary hair dye you think of when you want to dye your hair but are afraid of commitment. However, the dye I used for my black hair was in fact not Splat, but Revlon. Revlon is not a temporary hair dye. Revlon does not wash out in a month. Revlon is forever. This dye would not wash out. I should have known though, since the packaging said long-lasting hair dye. This is a fine example of read the fine print. I was so sick of it, I just wanted to chop the entire thing off. So I did. Stage 5, medium with black tips. This was the first major haircut I had gotten in my entire life. Everything up to this was a small trim here and there, but this introduced me to cutting off inches at a time. I really liked this style. It was simple and easy to groom, and looked nice with my face shape. The only thing I didn't like was how big my forehead looked, but then again, it looked big in all of the other ones as well. I would get it cut at different times, such as a ½ inch or so. The thing that surprised me the most looking back on this was how much of a change I thought it was. In reality, I had only cut off a few inches at most, but in my mind, I had made this big, massive change. This change that had made me into a better person. This change that had transformed me into a new version of myself. It wasn't true, I was still the same old Reni, but in my mind, I had become fresh. This rush died down after a couple of months, and I was stuck deciding what else I could do. I was still avoiding bleach for common sense reasons, and no dye I tried would stick. My hair began to reject any color changes after the black ordeal, and honestly, I can't blame it. I would have been cautious too. Overall, this is my favorite stage. Besides everything with my forehead, I did like having somewhat longer hair and not having to shower in the morning, which we'll get into in a minute. But for some reason, I wanted a change. Maybe it was the fact that all of my friends were dyeing their hair and cutting it, or just impulse? I don't know. I did it. Oh, there's another picture there. Stage 6, short and blonde. I decided to cut most of my hair off on June 7th, 2017. I know the exact date because it was the day before the last day of my 7th grade school year. My attention-seeking heart wanted everyone to look at my hair on the last day of school because I was special. It wasn't a very good move though, because I didn't know how to style it yet. See, when you have long hair, you can let it hang normally. Maybe you'd put it in a pony, or curl it sometimes, or put it in a bun, but most of the time you just let it flow straight down onto your shoulders. But with short hair, you have to do all kinds of voodoo to make it look okay. My hairdresser gave me some spray stuff that I put in my hair and combed through it. Remember how I said I didn't like my giant forehead? I guess I didn't realize that putting it up made it bigger. Oops. I still don't realize how fast it actually grows. That past photo was taken in June of 2017, and as you can most likely tell, it was a lot shorter than what it is now. The most prominent example I use to show the growth are the sides of my hair. In this photo, they hang around my ears, maybe a little above. Keep in mind, I got it cut this short again in August of 2017, so that's when I started growing it out. It's currently down to my neck. Despite how much I love this style, it's very difficult to maintain. I have to shower in the morning, which means waking up at 6:15, or it looks like this. Yeah, It lays flat and really looks weird, so to get it as fluffy as it is now, I have to shower and let it air dry. I would like an extra 15 minutes of sleep more than I like my short hair, let me tell you. My best friend Maya gets up at 5 a.m. to do her hair every day. I do not have that kind of energy. So, despite the fact that I love this cut, I'm growing it out to stage 5 once again. And I'm going to get bangs as to fix my forehead issue. My friends have experimented with all kinds of hair, short, long, the like. I think McKenna's getting a little lonely being the only long-haired girl in the bunch, so I'm going to join her. My message to you is this: hair is hair. It's not a finger, it's not a toe, it's not forever. A lot of people ask me, should I cut my hair? How do you think I would look? I'm so nervous no one will like it. People couldn't care less what your hair looks like. They might glance at it, but no one's gonna point you out in a room and say, "Ha! Your hair is garbage." Do you think we, 8th graders, are focused on your 3-inch trim when we have finals coming? No, we want to pass, not trash your pixie cut. Your hair is your own, no matter if it's dye, cut, color, highlights, shaving it off, it will always grow back. I have more goals for what I want mine to look like, and it's growing back fine. This is a reference. I really don't have the face shape for it, but it's fine. I'll make it work. Your hair changes with what you're going through. Keeping it the same is restricting. Make it original. A couple years and some personal development can take you from this to this. Thank you.